Shao Wu, the god of heaven. Shao Hao is a Western god in ancient Chinese mythology. His father is Tai Bai Jingxing, and his mother is the fairy Huangge of Tian Shan. Shao Hao, whose surname is Yi, whose name is Ji, is also called Jintianshi. He is also called Judi, Baidi, Huang, and Qiangsangshi. He reigned for 84 years and died at the age of 100. He was revered as the ancestor god-emperor by later generations. Shaowu was called Qiangsangshi because Shao Hao's mother was weaving in the sky. When she was exhausted, she often went to rest and play under a big mulberry tree on the shore of the West Sea. It was under this tree that she met Tai Bai Jingxing. There is also a beautiful story about their meeting. The smart and beautiful Huangge used colorful silk to weave cloth in the heavenly palace every day, often without getting tired until late at night. Sometimes, in order to relax, she would take a raft and ripple in the vast Milky Way to entertain herself. One day, Huangge took a raft again and went upstream along the Milky Way. Finally, she came to the Qiangsang tree by the West Sea and stopped the raft. This tree is 10,000 feet tall, with deep roots and lush leaves, and abundant flowers and branches. The leaves are red, and the fruits are purple. It is said that this tree only bears fruits once every 10,000 years. If you eat this fruit, your lifespan will be higher than the sky. When Huangge was daydreaming under the Qiangsang tree, she suddenly saw a handsome young man slowly descending from the sky. She looked at the young man curiously and saw that the young man had a face like a full moon, eyes like morning stars, and a faint glow all over his body. He was very handsome, and she couldn't help but stare at him in amazement. The young man came to Huangge in a casual manner, bowed deeply, and said, "Hello, fairy Huangge. I am the son of Baidi, and I would like to make friends with you." Huangge said in surprise, "Ah, you are the morning star, also called Venus? So it is you. I often sit here, looking up at the morning star in the eastern sky, and say to myself, this star is so bright, so beautiful, and so diligent, bringing daylight to the world every day." When she said this, her ears were hot and her heart was beating, so she quickly stopped talking and blushed. Morning Star blushed slightly and said emotionally, "I am the same. When I rise to the sky, I often see you at first sight and think you are so beautiful. I asked other stars and found out that you are the clever Huang Yi. The colorful brocade you weave is as beautiful as you. I hear the sound of your weaving every night, and the pleasant sound keeps me awake at night. Every morning, I look forward to your appearance by the Milky Way. Morning Star opened his heart in one breath and found that he was too excited. So he quickly stopped talking and looked at Huang Yi with a red face. Huang Yi lowered her head shyly, brushing her drooping black hair with both hands to cover up the wild beating of her heart. Morning Star smiled, stretched out his hand, and summoned a silver shining zither. He held the zither in both hands, leaned against the poor mulberry tree, and played a beautiful melody. Huang Yi was immediately attracted by the sound of the zither, and couldn't help but sing softly along with Morning Star's music. The sound of the piano, played by the Morning Star, expressed his love to the emperor, and the song of the emperor also expressed his love to the emperor. The melodious sound of the song and the piano attracted the fish to float on the water in groups, excited the flowers to bloom, and the phoenix flew over and danced in the air. The lark flew over and sang to accompany the emperor and the Morning Star. Their hearts were getting closer and closer. They both walked onto the raft and used the branches of the laurel tree as the raft mast, tied the fragrant incense grass to the top of the laurel tree as a flag, and carved a bird called the jade dove and placed it on the top to identify the direction. The raft floated in the Milky Way. The emperor could not help singing along with the melodious and lingering sound of the piano. The beautiful sound of the piano and the beautiful song merged into one. The emperor and the Morning Star snuggled together, immersed in the happiness of love. Fishes chased each other happily beside the trees, and phoenixes flew in the laughter of happy lovers. Huang Yi and Morning Star drifted happily like this, and soon their love child, Shao Wu, was born. When Shao Wu was born, there were 5 phoenixes in the sky with different colors, which were generated according to the colors of the 5 directions: red, yellow, blue, white, and black. They flew into the courtyard of Shao Hao, so he was also called Feng Niao. Shao Hao initially used the black bird, that is, the swallow, as the totem of his tribe. Later, when he was in Cheongsang, the leader of the Great Alliance, a wind bird flew over, and he was very happy. So he changed the wind bird to the tribe god and worshipped the wind bird totem. Soon, the capital was moved to Khufu, and the tribes under its jurisdiction were named after birds, including Fengniao, Xuaniao, Qingniao, and a total of 24 clans, forming a huge and complete clan tribal society with the phoenix as the totem. Xiao Hao, with his parents' careful cultivation, had magical gifts and extraordinary abilities. When Xiao Wu grew up, he became the leader of his clan, and later the leader of the entire Dongyi tribe. He first established a country on the coast of the East China Sea and established a strange system. Various birds were used as officials. The specific division of labor was carried out according to the characteristics of different birds. The phoenix was in charge of all birds, and then the swallow was in charge of spring, the shrike was in charge of summer, the sparrow was in charge of summer, and the golden pheasant was in charge of winter. In addition, he sent 5 kinds of birds to manage daily affairs. The filial quail was in charge of education. The fierce bird of prey was in charge of military affairs. The fair cuckoo was in charge of construction. The majestic eagle was in charge of law. And the eloquent turtle dove was in charge of speech. In addition, there were 9 kinds of guard birds in charge of agriculture, so that the people would not be licentious and dissolute. The 5 kinds of pheasants are responsible for 5 types of work, namely carpentry, lacquer, pottery, dyeing, and leatherwork. In a word, all kinds of birds make the best use of their talents, perform their duties, and coordinate activities. Therefore, when it is time for the meeting, all the birds sing together, and for a while there is a cacophony of singing and chirping. There are light and clever sparrows, colorful phoenixes, ordinary magpies, and eye-catching peacocks. The king of a country, Xiao Wu, rewards and punishes according to the reports of the birds, and everything seems so well organized. All the birds are grateful for Xiao Hao's kindness and good governance, and all admire Xiao Wu's intelligence and talent. Xiao Hao was very pleased to see that the kingdom of birds was prosperous everywhere. In order to make the kingdom of birds more prosperous, he invited his young, smart, and talented nephew Zhuanshu to help manage the government. Zhuanshu lived up to everyone's expectations and did a great job, which won the appreciation of his uncle. Xiao Wu saw that his nephew was often tired and sweaty, so he took out the zither passed down by his father and taught Zhuanshu to play it step by step to refresh his nephew and entertain him. Zhuanshu was smart and studious, and soon became a master of playing the zither. His superb zither skills won the cheers of hundreds of birds, and naturally surpassed his uncle Xiao Hao. A few years later, Zhuanshu grew up and returned to his country. In the end, he became the emperor of the sky in the north. As soon as Zhuanshu left, Xiao Wu felt empty and lonely in his heart. Whenever he saw the zither, it only added to his longing and troubles. He felt that the object was there, but the person was gone, and the sorrow of parting was hard to dissipate. So he picked up the zither and threw it into the East China Sea. From then on, whenever the night was quiet, and the moon was bright, and the stars were sparse, the calm sea surface would be filled with melodious and sad piano sounds, which made people linger and marvel. Shao Hao had several sons, and his descendants had very different appearances, personalities, moral qualities, and talents. One of them was named Chong. He had a human face and a bird body, and what was even more surprising was that Chong's face was square, and he often wore white clothes. When he went out, he drove 2 flying dragons. Because of his extraordinary talents, he was valued and favored by Fuxi, the emperor of the East, and became the wood god in mythology. He and Fuxi jointly ruled the spring, and people generally called him Ju Mang. Spring is the season when all things come back to life, with flowers blooming, orioles singing and dancing, grass secretly poking its head out, trees gently stretching their wastes, fish swimming in the water, ducks playing in the river, and the whole world is full of vitality, vigor, and prosperity, with songs and laughter everywhere, and singing and dancing everywhere. The god of wood holds a compass-like object, in charge of the life of all things on earth at this time. The compass is a symbol of his power. People call him Ju Mang, which contains the meaning of crookedness, which is very similar to the crooked and soft appearance of grass and trees when they first grow in spring. Ju Mang also serves as the god of life. If someone does more good deeds and makes outstanding contributions to the development of the country, Ju Mang will increase his lifespan. Another son of Shao Hao is Guy. Guy has tiger claws, a human face, and white hair all over his body. He is a subordinate of his father, Shao Wu. People generally call him Ru Shao. He is the golden god in mythology. Together with his father, Shao Hao, he controls the area of 12,000 miles in the west. They divide the responsibilities. Shao Hao's job is to check whether the light reflected from the setting sun to the east is normal. Guy's job is similar to his father's, that is, to check whether the glow in the west is normal when the sun sets. In addition, Rushu was in charge of heavenly punishment. If someone did something bad and harmed the interests of the country, he would punish that person, reducing his lifespan or depriving him of his life. This was the opposite of his brother Zhu Meng's job. He also had a son, Qi, who looked a bit like a tiger and had a pair of wings under his ribs, which allowed him to fly freely in the sky. And he had a strange ability, which was to understand the languages of all parts of the world. He was a guy who could confuse right and wrong, and liked to play pranks. For example, when he saw two people fighting, he would eat the upright and reasonable one, and let the vicious and troublesome rogue go unpunished. However, sometimes he also did good things. For example, on the 8th day of the 12th lunar month every year, he and his companions would look for man-eating pests everywhere and drive them away, or eat them. He also had a son, Xiang, who invented bows and arrows, greatly improving people's ability to defeat wild beasts. His other son, Beifa, was demoted to the south and became the main god of Minyuan. Mei, a descendant of Shaohao, served as a water official and was called Xuan Mingxi. Tai Yi, the son of Tai Wu, was granted the title of Duke of Fenchuan for his meritorious service in flood control. In addition, Gao Yao, who helped Emperor Yao govern the country, and Bo Yi, who helped Emperor Yu control floods, were all descendants of Shao Wu. Among his descendants, there is a one-eyed country in the far north, where people have only one eye in the middle of their faces, which is also very magical. During Shaohao's reign, he was called Shaohao because he revised the laws of Tai Wu. He set up Gongzheng and Nongzheng to manage handicrafts and agriculture, respectively, to develop production. At the same time, he also rectified measurement, that is, established measurement standards, observed astronomical phenomena, formulated calendars, invented musical instruments, and composed music. At the same time, he also established close exchanges with the Yanhuang group. For example, he took in and raised Huangdi's grandson, Zhuan Shu, to take over his position as the leader of the Dongyi tribal alliance.